Production.
Okay guys, so I washed and cleaned my oxtail, dried everything. So now I'm going to go in with my seasoning. I measured everything out here, so I'm just gonna pour it over the oxtail. I will tell you guys everything that is in here that I've used. So all that seasoning is the Maggi chicken, Maggi all-purpose, Jamaican choice oxtail seasoning, some adobo, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. I'm just gonna go in and mix everything up. So I'm working with, this is 4 pounds of oxtail. 4 pounds of oxtail. So you have to use the right amount of seasoning to the ratio of oxtail. Okay? The seasoning is making me want to sneeze. So mix everything up. Alright, so the way you know that you have enough seasoning on your meat or your protein is when you look, you can actually see the seasoning on the meat. Right? Let me bring it closer to focus. There you go. You can actually see the seasoning on the meat. Then you know, okay, that's enough. All right. So there you have it. Now we're going in with our browning sauce. Grace browning sauce, okay? Now I'm going to measure it. Usually I'll just pour, but let's measure. It's about measuring now, so you guys have an idea exactly how much. So we just want to, the browning, give it that nice brown color. Now, another way to do this is to brown the sugar. So you would get some dark brown sugar and put it in the pot and just let it burn and caramelize. That's another way to get browning. But you know, you can just buy it at the store. All right. So let me get my gloves back on and we're gonna go in and mix that up. Now, I like to season my oxtail and cook it the next day. You know, when you leave it overnight is the best, because you get all that marinating, seasoning, everything is properly marinated. So it's always best, if you know you're gonna cook oxtail, season it up the night before or the day before. So that was 2 tablespoons of the browning, and we have that nice dark brown color that we want on the oxtail. All right. Nice and dark and brown, okay? So that's all our powder seasoning. So now I'm going to come back with all the vegetable seasoning, the onions, the scallions, all those things. All right, I'll be back. All right, guys, so we have our other seasonings, vegetables, fruit, whatever you want to call them. Because tomato got seeds, so I'm guessing it's a fruit. And the peppers. So we got onion, scallion, green pepper, yellow pepper, orange, red, tomatoes, garlic. All right, and I have thyme over there, but let's put everything in. Whoa, slow down, brother. Oh, shoot. Whoops. That didn't work that good. Okay. All right. It smells so good. Okay, so we're just gonna go in and just get everything all up in there. In both hands. Get another glove. Go in. Mix it up. Oops. Some of the stuff is falling out. Need a bigger bowl. All right. I think I have more. So I have some more juicy tomatoes here. I'm gonna tell you guys a little trick for the way I do my oxtail, because I've always said if you cook and season your oxtail right, you don't need to put no sugar or ketchup in your oxtail to make the gravy, because oxtail is a savory dish. It's not supposed to be sweet. It's supposed to be salty and flavorful, not salty, but like savory and flavorful, not sweet. So the key to getting that flavor without adding sugar or ketchup is to use juicy ripe tomatoes. You put juicy ripe tomatoes, it'll be good. You don't need to put no ketchup in your oxtail. But if you cook with ketchup, that's fine too. But I promise you, try it without the ketchup, and trust me, you will see the difference. All right, so we gotta put the thyme. So now we're gonna add the thyme. Let's see if I can just rinse it real quick. All right, and I just dropped the thyme on top like that. Now I would wrap this up and put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then I'll cook it the next day, so everything is nicely marinated. All right, I'll be back. All right, so here I have my pressure cooker pot on the stove around medium heat. So I'm gonna add some oil into that, like around less than 1/4 cup. I'm gonna leave the oil to get hot. All right, now that the oil is hot, I'm gonna go in with the oxtail. So this oxtail has been sitting for a couple days in the freezer. So all these videos are clippings that I put together. So just add your oxtail into your pot, because we're going to saute the oxtail first before we actually start to pressure it. Even if you're not using a pressure cooker and you're gonna cook your oxtail for 3-4 hours, I'm not about that life. But if you're about that life, you still have to saute the oxtail first before you add water to cook. All right, so just go in with your spoon and mix everything up, because what you're basically trying to do, it's like you're trying to give every pieces of oxtail a chance to kind of fry at the bottom of the oil.
at the bottom of the pot, right? So this part of the process is going to be a lot of stirring and just cooking the oxtail, the first part, the saute. So it's going to be a lot of stirring going on. So just let it saute. All right, I'm going to be stirring again at this point. You can see, at this point, you can see the oxtail starting to cook. And all the seasoning and stuff is starting to cook. So, like I said, a lot of mixing going on in the first steps. I just zoomed in so you guys could get a closer look of how, your pot should look. It's a lot of steam coming in the camera, but you kind of get the gist of it, right? Okay. So at this point, I'm done sauteing the oxtail. So I'm just giving it another mix. It's coming together real nice. I'm just going to show you guys. So it should look, I guess you can say, in the pre-cook stage. So your pot should look something like this. If you follow the steps directly. So just keep doing that. I'm boiling some water because we're going to go in with hot water. You don't want to go in with cold water because it's kind of slowing down the cooking process, which we don't want to do. So while your oxtail is sauteing, have some water boiling. All right, so at this point, I'm going in with my hot water. So you want to bring the water up above the oxtail, right? So just like right above the oxtail, you want to bring the water. So whatever pot you're using, just make sure that the water is just right above the level of the oxtail. All right, at this point, I'm just mixing it around. Get everything nice. It's a lot of stirring going on because you don't want the meat to stick to the bottom of the pot, which can happen. So just constant stirring. I'm going to cover it up and go in with the pressure in at this point. So just follow your basic pressure cooking rules. Okay. You need the little knob to cover the top. And I'm going to let that pressure we're going to go in with 20 minutes first. And then we're going to check on it. And if it still need more pressure in, you go in for about another 15 minutes of pressuring. All right. Okay, so at this point, I'm just checking the first pressure to see if my oxtail is cooked. And it's not, so I'm going to cover it back up and let it pressure for about another 15, 20 minutes. My pressure cooker is kind of old, so if your pressure cooker works better, then that's good. At this point, the oxtail is done pressured, so the meat is soft and tender to the touch. So we just want to do the final finish, the final cooking. So we're going with some more hot water, mix that up. So at this point, we're making that nice thick gravy with in this process of cooking the oxtail, because the meat is already cooked. So this last stage will just give you that fall off the bone effect that we all love, right? All right, so it's cooking down now, making that gravy. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some butter. Now, the butter is what's really going to thicken up this sauce, this oxtail gravy, and give it that thick, rich, creaminess, right? So at this point, I'm going in with about half stick of butter, depending on the amount of oxtail that you're cooking. Make sure you taste your gravy before you add the butter, because butter has salt in it, and you don't want to over salt. So make sure you taste your gravy to determine how much butter you need to add. All right. So we add the butter, and I'm gonna go in with a can of baked butter bean. You could get that from your grocery store, Grace butter bean. Some people don't like butter bean in their oxtail, but that's okay. You don't have to put it. So just add the butter bean in, and we're just gonna mix it around. And then when you're done mixing around, we're just gonna place the lid on top. We're not closing it tight to give it that pressure effect. We're just sitting it on top to create that steam. All right. So just mix it around, and then you're gonna cover with the lid. Everything looks good. And you get this really nice gravy, like I said, when you let your oxtail marinate overnight. All right, so at this point, it's done. Everything's done. The gravy looks really thick and nice and bubbly. The meat falls off the bone. The beans are softened. So at this point, you're good to go. I'm just giving it a taste just to make sure it's to my liking, which it is. And I cannot wait to eat. All right, guys, I'm just giving y'all a zoom in effect. Look at that thick, bubbly gravy, which you love. Like, imagine that on some rice and peas and some, like, I'm about to have this with some creamy garlic mashed potatoes. To die for, I'm telling you. All right, guys, so this is our finished product. Some juicy Jamaican oxtail with some creamy garlic mashed potatoes. Yummy. Don't forget to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, like, share, comment, and turn on that notification bell. Thank you guys for joining me on this edition of No Rule Book to Cooking. Have a good day. Bye.